taking action for you. This morning on TV 20 Detroit starts right now.
PulseBeat.
You are the first African American, and I'm talking about the first regardless of gender, man or woman, to receive the coveted Olympic gold medal in Taekwondo.
Yeah, I mean, and I wear that proud because, as I said, there was no roadmap that said I was going that way. I think what helped me get there was the experience I had in basketball, which is teamwork, which is discipline, and the experience I had in the singing group, which was working together for a common goal, got me to even walk in a school, because walking in a martial arts school is very intimidating if you've never done martial arts. You know, you walking in this place where people are kicking could pretty much knock you out, and you have to walk in there kind of act confident and act like this is what you want to do.
What's happening in entertainment? From Tinseltown to the Big Apple, this is your weekly entertainment magazine with Greg Dunmore of PulseBeat.tv.
Pulse of a new generation. PulseBeat.tv.
Welcome to another edition of the National Association of Black Journalists award-winning, Emmy-nominated PulseBeat with Greg Dunmore. We're standing in front of this sign because we want you to know that skateboarding is now one of the newest entries of the 2024 Olympics that will take place in Paris. So we're standing in front of this skateboarding scenario, which is at the Shepherd in the heart and soul of Detroit, Michigan, because we also want you to know that in 1988, Taekwondo was introduced as a category. And history is being rewritten, or maybe even manipulated, because in 2020, they're indicating that somebody is the first.
All the way to the top of the podium in Tokyo as she becomes the first American woman to win Olympic gold in Taekwondo.
Is the first, but we're about first. So we want to introduce you to the first gold medal winner in the Olympics for Taekwondo, who is an African-American female from Detroit. Her name is Lynnette A. Allow us to introduce you to gold Olympic medalist, Lynnette A.
Gave me the confidence to do anything that I set out to do. The Olympics it's just such a high level. You know, even now I'm amazed that a lot of kids today still don't know what the Olympics are.
I gotta now let the audience know who may not know you. And the ones who even know you, I think there are things we're going to talk about that even they don't know. So as I said, once again, you are the first African American to ever receive an Olympic gold medal, and that was in Seoul.
That was in Seoul,
Korea.
Yeah.
As an athlete, as a sportswoman, what was your area of sports that?
Well, basketball was my life. Listen, basketball was, if you had asked me in high school, basketball was what I was going to do for the rest of my life. There's no question. You couldn't take it out of me. I'd play in the street, I'd play AAU, I played at Cass. I mean, it was what I did. But after high school, something kind of hit me and said, you know, if your knees are hurting like this now, you're not gonna be able to walk. So you need to consider if you really want to play basketball. It was one of the hardest things to do, but I just realized I need to find something else that I can stay in shape. And at the time, there wasn't a WNBA. And so women's basketball had nowhere to go. Once you played, even in college, that would be it. And so I just kind of thought, well, so I'm going to play in college, and then that's going to be it. That's going to break my heart.
Who did you look up to? There was no Lisa Leslie,
no
Brittany, so I
know.
Who did you look up to as a female, as a basketball role model? There was none?
No, there were our coaches we looked up to. There were our teammates. We would travel because we were all city and all state, so we played across the country. I remember going to Kansas City, and we all had to get in the closet because a tornado was coming. I mean, it was serious what we did, but I needed to see something beyond that. And there wasn't even an Olympics, I want to say. I mean, I think basketball was there, but I think the Olympics was so far out of my realm. Like, I couldn't see that that would be me. And I just figured I got to do something while I go to college. I had a few scholarships to college. I remember I went to Michigan State for a basketball camp, and it seemed like the cafeteria was an hour away from the dorms, and I was freezing, and I go, I don't want to play basketball there. I think as I was training, becoming good at that sport, you know, I tell people all the time, there were a million people just as talented as I was. There's no question. There were people I ran into that did martial arts. You know, I would see them at tournaments, see them at competitions. Very good. My reasoning for getting where I got in that sport, getting to that level, was family and friends. I watched athletes that were as good as I was or better, that because they didn't have the family support, because they didn't have the financial support, because they didn't have people there helping them go to that next level. I have family that just kept stepping up, that kept being there. I remember when I went to China to compete, and I won a gold medal, and that was my first international competition. I had no money. I didn't even know I was gonna get there. And my mother stepped up and helped me get there. My sister was living in California, so she goes, look, Lynnette's gonna take a bus to California. Make sure she gets there, then take her to the airport. Then I had my school stepped up and raised money for me to have in my pocket. I mean, there was a million things that could have gone wrong, but that support helped it go where it should have gone.
A remarkable family. Your mother is a PhD and an attorney, and tell me just how that affected you.
You know, my mother, she went from a bachelor's to a master's to a doctorate, and I remember asking her, are you gonna go to school forever? She goes, probably. And then in her 50s, she decided she wanted to be an attorney. So she went from being on the teacher side of education to being on the labor relations side when it came to their contract. So she's always gone to school, she's always learning. And I think that's what she impressed upon us, because my mother never said you have to go to college. We just did because we thought that was what we were supposed to do. And I think because of her guidance, I tell her all the time, we didn't go to college because you told us to. We went because we watched you.
You are a product of Cass Technical High School in Detroit, and I'm gonna focus on the women though, because Cass is a school that has produced such stellar names as Diana Ross, Lily Tomlin, Della Reese, the violinist, Regina Carter, and Lynette Love is certainly on that list of legendary names that Cass can claim as alumni. Now, I think of names because, you know, movies have such an impact on what motivates us in terms of our sensation and perception. And as you said, when you were a young girl thinking about basketball, there was no Lisa Leslie, you didn't have the role models. But now as a woman who would become a master Olympic gold medalist in Taekwondo, when you were younger and you were watching films and there were people like Bruce Lee and Jim Kelly, and then I think about people like Cleopatra Jones, Tamara Dobson, and I think in terms of Pam Grier.
Yeah, Pam Grier.
And I think of Get Christy Love.
Get Christy Love and Cleopatra Jones were my two role models. Cleopatra Jones because of her height. Because I said, oh my goodness, she's as tall as I am.
That was Tamara Dobson.
Yes, Tamara Dobson. And she was kicking butt, but she looked good before and after. But my biggest role model outside of that was Bruce Lee, none other. It was, we would go to the movie theater and stay there until they closed. I wanted to be Bruce Lee. I would go in my bedroom, turn the lights out, hang a belt from the ceiling, and kick it and try to hear the speed from the belt. The things that, Bruce Lee was who I aspired to be. I wanted the speed, I wanted the humor that he had, I wanted the ability to kick somebody's butt and then smile after. It was over. That was what I aspired to be. And there's no question that Bruce Lee and Tamara Dobson, Cleopatra Jones, and the movie Christy Love were the three things that kept me in martial arts and motivated me.
PulseBeat.
Neighborhood beautification. That's very important to Detroit. It's very important to block clubs, organizations, and people who live in the community. We got started with 2 lots and a vision of a treehouse center. Because if we can take these blighted lots, Detroit give us grants to be able to do something with them that the community wants, it's a plus because we're bringing our neighborhoods back to where we want them to be, where they should be. All because I live in Detroit.
Visit Dallas for the 7th Annual Riverfront Jazz Festival, one of the fastest growing jazz festivals in America. And it's happening in Dallas, Texas on Labor Day weekend, Friday, August 30th through Sunday, September 1st at the Black Academy of Arts and Letters in the downtown Dallas Convention Center. On 3 stages, you'll see Grammy, MTV, American Music, Image, People's Choice, BET, Soul Train, and Billboard Award winners like Brian McKnight, Genuine, Cassandra Wilson, Stanley Jordan, Norma Brown, Mesa, Stokely, Sheila E., Patrice Rushen, Tower Power, Ruben Studdard, Take 6, Down to the Bone, The String Queens, Fantastic Negrito, 4 Brothers on Bass, Dallas Symphony Orchestra, Dallas Second Line Jazz Band, and a special tribute to 20 great men and women jazz singers. Make your way to Dallas, Texas for the Riverfront Jazz Festival. For tickets, call 214-743-2400 or go to Ticketmaster.com.
PulseBeat.
The background, because I said number 1, first African American to ever win a gold medal at the Olympics in Taekwondo. Then I said that you're one of the few, you're a pioneer in terms of owning an academy teaching Taekwondo.
Well, I don't even know if I was the first, but we were among the first. Myself and my teammate Deborah Holloway, the late Deborah Holloway, opened up a school right after '88 and trained at.
And that was where? That was in
Maryland. That was in Maryland. And we trained, it's funny because when we opened the school, we figured we're going to train everybody like an Olympian. So we got them doing push-ups, sit-ups, everything we did. And we were wondering, why are people leaving? And we realized everybody's not coming to be an Olympian. They just want to stay in shape. So we had to change our philosophy of how we train athletes. But we were definitely among the first to take students to national competitions and have them compete. I have to say our students, probably out of 10 of our athletes, 8 of them would win gold medals. I mean, we had phenomenal teams, had phenomenal students. And for me, the gift of all of that was when you can train someone and see them reach that level or attempt to reach that level, it's better than anything you've gotten. Anything.
How many people can claim that they're in the Guinness Book of World Records? Lynnette Love can. Now you can. I just proclaimed it. Now I want you to explain it.
I saw it. Every now and then I still see it. But I mean, it's a feat that wasn't my goal.
And you were there, what, in 1993 as the only American to win 9 national titles and 2 world titles.
Yeah, that was something, and yeah, that was something.
So you're in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
A long time ago, and as I was competing, the bottom line was you'd say to yourself, don't believe the hype. The reason why you would say that is because when you're in the moment of competing, if you start believing that hype, the first thing you're looking at, okay, now from there is down. So it kind of makes you stay at that level of appreciation for what you've done. Absolutely, 100%. I know that a lot of things I've done that nobody else has done. But I have to also realize that the reason why those things are done is to pass the torch to someone else.
you acted in the WNAC Master Series. So
Yeah.
you're on TV. Let us know about your experience as an actress on national television.
You know what? That was fascinating, but that was kind of a lonely time. You know, I remember, I think I flew to Florida and they put me up in a hotel, and as they do, which I didn't know because I hadn't been acting before, you know, you get a per diem each day, even if you're not doing anything. And I think I was there for a couple of weeks. I remember phoning a friend and saying, why don't you come visit me? Because I'm just in this hotel waiting for them to call me. But I remember going to the stage, beautiful stage at Universal Studios. And the first thing we did was I watched some of the actors participate, and you know, they explained to me my character, Tarantula. And after that, they said we're gonna do a choreographed scene. So we would go out, I remember going outside of Universal Studios, there was a mat there, and we would choreograph these fight scenes. All I remember is being so sore from all these fight scenes. The next day, I remember they told me, okay, you're gonna fall off the ledge and die. And so I look down and there's this thick mat, probably maybe a 2 or 3 foot thick mat, but I gotta fall like 10, 20 feet. I'm looking at this mat going, yeah, I see the mat, but I don't know if I'm falling there. And so we were on this rotating stage. So we're kicking, going back and forth, doing the choreography for the fight scene. And the deal is I'm supposed to get this kick and then fall. I think it took me longer to fall than it did to film the scene. It was the hardest thing to tell yourself you're gonna fall and still live through it. But it was fun because I'd never done anything like that before. It was very fascinating. Something that went entirely too fast. Like I wish I had been in more than one scene, but it just went so fast. And so a lot of times people remind me, just like you did, of being in that, because it was something that just was one of those kind of blimps in your life.
Wow, now from being a sportswoman to, and you know, you're very versatile. Now, you know, I'm getting into this because of the word versatility. Now, how does that play into your journey?
Yeah, our singing group, we had this singing group called the Versatilities. From 5'1" to 6'2", everything is all we do. We're the Versatilities. And so that's how we came with that name. 4 of the 6 members were on the basketball team. And then it was my sister who wasn't on the basketball team and another friend of ours.
Your sister Deborah.
Yes, my sister Deborah and another friend of ours. So we had this group and we were singing in clubs that we couldn't be in because we weren't of age. So we would have to sing on stage, then we'd go to the dressing room and do our homework, and then come back out on stage for our show, go back to the dressing room. And so we got our homework done, and my mother never had to give us money the whole time we were in high school because we made money. But that was another thing that I thought the trajectory of my life would change, and that's what I was gonna do, is sing. I had a lot of passion for singing, had a lot of passion for basketball. Those were the 2 things. If you had told me it would be martial arts, there's no way. You don't realize the importance of things when you're in it, but when you look back, you know, every 4 years an Olympian is nominated for that award, usually maybe 10 or 12 in different sports. I believe that was the first for me in martial arts. That was the first time I'm a martial artist, because the only other martial art in the Olympic Games is judo. So then there's Taekwondo, is the second martial arts discipline. So the first time a martial artist had been nominated for the Sullivan Award. I had no idea what that meant until years later when we would get notice that said, we're voting for the next Sullivan Award person, we need you to vote for the next Olympian. Then I started to realize, wait a minute, I was nominated for that award. But I had no idea what it meant then. It was just something, because just like the Olympics in '88, '92, I think I appreciated that more when it was over. I could look back and I could say, oh my gosh, that was an amazing accomplishment. But during it, it's a job. It's what you do, it's what you're trying to do, because you want to win those medals. So you're not thinking, hey, I'm a great athlete and I can go out here and do this. No, you're thinking, I got to train hard every day, because you're only as good as your last match.
You can't have a life like you are still living, of course, and not have a movie. But the beauty is that so often movies are inspired by books, and you just so happen to have penned the book just for kicks, kicking to a gold medal. And I'm so proud of you because your life really is such an inspirational story. It's such an incredible story, such a remarkable story. So let us know, how did you finally decide that your remarkable life must be a book that will be turned into an Academy Award winning, NAACP, Image Award winning movie?
I'm claiming that right now. But you know, I had been approached by different people. One person that went to Howard University, because as you know, I trained at Howard University, and there were 3 of us from Howard University that made the Olympic team, and we won gold, silver, and bronze respectively. The only 3 women from Howard University, all African-American women. And the African-American Museum in DC went up about 4 years ago, and I was disappointed that we weren't in that. And I contacted a couple of people that gave me other names. We pushed through. Never happened, just fell down by the wayside. Then a young lady who graduated from Howard University saw our story, decided to pick it up and do a story about it. It was going to be the soul of USA, but it never got off the ground. And so I was disappointed about that too. After a while, I just sat and go, Lynnette, nobody can tell your story the way you can. You have to tell your own story. Maybe then somebody will pick that up and then go with that. Because I don't know movies, but I can write a book. And I just decided I need to tell my own story. I was talking to my mother, and I mentioned to her about being the only black African-American woman that had won a gold medal in Taekwondo in the Olympic Games. And she said, I didn't know that, you should write a book.
And isn't that Woman or Man?
That's Woman or Man.
Yes.
Yeah. And she said you should write a book. And I said, yeah, maybe I should. And you know, during COVID, you know, it was nothing to do. And I started, but you know, I just laid it down. Okay, I'll get to it. Like the book was going to write itself. About 3 or 4 months ago, I had a student that came to me and said, I want to do a story on you. I'm going to try to get someone to pick it up, but I want to do the story. Either way, I'm going to do the story. And I thought about it. I go, this is one of my students. But still, she can't tell my story except for when I tell it to her. So I said, you need to write this book. So I sat down and I just said, I'm going to write this book. And my goal is to finish it by July. That was my goal. And I sat down and I wrote the book. And I was really proud that I actually sat down and wrote that story.
There is something also about your book that when I saw the image, it was so powerful, it was so spiritual, and it really is about mind, body, and spirit. And it's the photo that was used as part of the imagery for the book.
He had me on a rooftop in the sun, got this Gap underwear and shirt, and put me up there, put baby oil all over me, and did the picture. And then after I got home, the next day, he was on Oprah. And I said, what? Who is that, Herb Ritts? And that's when I figured out who he was, absolutely.
Oh my God.
And it was on this book called Illustrations, where Diana Ross and her daughter in there, all these people. It's a book by Gap, and it's a big table book. I happened to go to a bookstore, opened the book, and saw my picture in there and said, what?
That really does speak his greatness, because this is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And it's by the master of photography, photographing the master of Taekwondo.
PulseBeat.
If you like what we're doing, please tell a friend, or if you want to see what we've done again, go to PulseBeatGlobal.com. That's PULSEBEATGlobal.com. You can also go to our PulseBeat TV YouTube channel, and you can revisit what we're doing. And once again, you can tell everybody that we're doing something that is so exciting that they wouldn't want to miss it. Remember PulseBeatGlobal.com or the YouTube channel PulseBeat TV. Thanks for telling the world about us.
PulseBeat.
And you, Lynnette, love also, when you talk in terms of females, there's no female that Detroit can claim that is more acclaimed than your achievement. It is remarkable. But do you think that you would have been a household name had you been a white female, or had it been a white male that had your level of achievement?
I think possibly I'm not quite sure, and I'll tell you why. Because there was a female, a white female, that won the gold medal in 2000. The first gold medal since 1988 when it was put in the Olympic Games.
Now, you were part of the inaugural, were you not?
Yes, 88, 92 was the very beginning. And for Korea, it's a big deal because Korea introduced that sport. You know, whenever the Olympics is in a country, they introduce their sports, usually their national sport. Taekwondo in Korea is like football is here.
That in Korea, there's a black woman from Detroit, Michigan, that would be competing in the Olympics and would win the gold medal in the country that claims it to be their
national sport.
National sport.
Absolutely.
Now, I want you to just talk about it because this is real, real deep now.
Well, you know, it's a hard thing for Korea because our women's team took first place and our men's team took second place overall. Out of the 8 females, we had 3 that won gold medal. Korea didn't expect that. Their job had been for previous years, I don't care where you like it, world championships are bigger than the Olympic Games. Their job is to win every medal, every gold medal there is. On the men's side, they won 6 gold medals. We won 1. One of our teammates, who's a Korean American, heavyweight, won the gold medal for men. So they didn't expect us to win those medals. So for Korea, beating them at their own game is devastating. They're happy for you because they know if you beat them, you're good. But on the other side, they don't want to give that up. Their spirit is just beyond what you can imagine. So from myself, after the Olympic Games, they usually have a sports conference where you go in there, you're there, and the person that you win or lose against is there. Well, when I went into the room, nobody was there. It was empty. I was kind of like, well, what? But for them, they didn't win. And they couldn't brag, and they didn't want to do the press conference. So that was the end of that. You know, it was a fleeting moment. It was sad for a minute, but then I was like, it's okay, I want a gold medal. I don't care about this press conference. But my opponent the next day had her suitcase, and she was leaving the Olympic Village. I saw her leaving because for them, it's gold medal or nothing. It's not gold, silver, and bronze. See, for us, we're gold, silver, and bronze. We're okay, I got a bronze. No, for them, it's gold or nothing. So if they don't win gold, it's a whole different life they could have had. They're champions if they win gold. They can do whatever they want. They can write their ticket to anything. So it was a whole different feeling for them. It's not gymnastics. It's not track and field. It's not basketball. And when you think about the Olympics, as much as, you know, the reason why I'm very excited when the Olympics comes on is because you get a chance to see things other than basketball, other than baseball. You get a chance to see the sports that don't get that recognition. And because Taekwondo is still not a big money sport is why it's not a household name. And it's why my name is not a household name. I think it has gotten much better. Oh, it has grown remarkably, but it's still got a long ways to go.
PulseBeat.